I feel like cold check. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, where wherever you may be. I'm your humble host, Mr. David Null, looking in the bathroom to see if there's any rats running around. Also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers in some circles and squares. I continue to pray that each and every day that each and one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings in the universe. And I hope that all y'all out there, uh, will keep up the good work. And I hope that whatever may come your way, there's things that, like today, there was some good stuff that happened, and then the truck broke down. At least it was broke down in the yard. Oh, I'm so lucky in that. Oh, but anyway, so stay as healthy as you all can. But anyway, so hi everybody. It's about time for a 20. All right. And I have a new little toy. Well, it's not really little, but um I'm not supposed to show these things on camera, but it's a little water pipe. And sitting right here. And uh, but anyway, so I've been playing with it. Hey, Scotty, Chloe, how are you? Witch Moon, how are you? All done. Hey, Nelly, Witch Moon. Um, I got my new phone. If anybody had my cell phone number before, you probably still have it. Please send me a text so I can add you back into my new phone. I will do. Good time. Let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. We got 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. This is my old phone. It's got a cracked surface, and the damn thing just quit working. You could turn it on, and um, are you trying to sign in? So what? I don't know. But you can't even see the screen. It's just all these lines going this way and this way. It just hosed up. So it was going to cost me 150 bucks to get a new one of these when this phone didn't really do what I wanted it to do. Like it wouldn't do live streams, it wouldn't connect to certain Wi-Fi's. Like when I was in the hospital, it wouldn't connect. And I spent an hour on the phone, trying to figure it out. So, but anyway, so this phone is officially dead now. Well, actually, it still lights up. It was playing YouTube videos at 3 in the morning. Scared the bejeebers out of me. I think I can turn it off now. So whatever was on it, addresses and things that I could have, swapped over and everything, gonna have to do it the long way round. you know, take the long way home. Oh, is it time? It almost is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's time. But I have this newer phone, and it's heavier. It's more. Um, it's nice and pretty. You could see the screen and slide it up and all of the pretty little icons, and where the other one was all just kind of it was. I didn't really like the lively setup, although I gotta say it was easy because they were just in a line. All you had to do was push them. But there were times when my thumbs and fingers would push stuff, and I, what did I just do? The camera would come on, or it'd start recording, and I'm like, what the hell? So I am going to have to learn how to use this one, but I'm already liking the picture and everything. Um, and it's got the three camera lenses thingy. It's set up for 5G, and it was the same price as that other one. So I am now a member of Consumer Cellular, and Ted Danson. We're probably close to be. I should check. I'm finding out that like Pee Wee Herman was like 2 months older than me. He just passed away. Like what? We were the same age. I'm the same age as Vladimir Putin. He was born in 52 as well. What? you know, um, I think I'm a couple of days older than Putin. What? Yeah, ain't that weird? So, but anyway, I want to fire this thing up because because of the wonderful things he did. We're off to see the lizard. Is Barry in the house yet? Hey, Scotty boy, I'm waiting for the next model. It's supposed to do wash in Windows 2. Oh, hey Barry, what model? I, I missed out. Oh, the phone. Well, with all my brothers and sisters, and plus with all y'all, and I am gonna Barry, you need to call me on the phone or send me a text. Oh, you sent me a text. That's right. Um, Witch Moon, and I don't know who else had my cell phone number. You need to send me a text and say, "Hi, this is Witch Moon," because I won't know. It'll just show up as a number from somewhere. I'm really liking this phone, and I've only had it a couple of hours. Well, I picked it up on the way to town today to go to therapy. Well, having done therapy and having talked with, it's been weird. The the discussion of karma has come up with talks. I brought it up, but some other folks have brought it up, kind of sort of out of the blue, and I'm like, "What you talking about? You all talking about karma too?" Um, so number one, so what's your take on karma, for example? Well, if I do something good, then that goodness shall follow me all the days of my life. Maybe not. Somebody might try to kill me. But ding a ling, there's a new sound. Did you just send me one? See, I got to get used to what the color of the icon looks and the whole 9 yards. So got it. Okie dokie. And Lord have mercy, they asked me for my phone number for my cell phone, and I couldn't remember it because I don't call it. I don't call numbers anymore. But anyway, so cool beans. I got to go. All them folks that I had entered into the contacts list in my other phone, I got to do it all over again. So, but anyway, I don't have a job anymore, um, except trying to stay alive. Ah, I'm staying alive. Boy, I got the music in me. I got the music in me. Feel funky, feeling blue, good. I am in the neighborhood. Anyway, never mind. Um, I'm almost. Here's the deal. I've been up since yesterday, like going on 36 hours now, and I'm a little loony, you know. But I got to stop at the smoke shop, and um, there's this stuff. I'm new to all these little kratom's and things and all, but this here is called train wreck. It's got 11 different herbs and spices in it, right? And it's like take two and call me in the morning. So I have a dingaling. I can throw it in that. Oh, my dingaling won't. Never mind. I was going to say it'll never reach the hat. Where's it at? It's not in the hat, and that's that. Train wreck. That's what it's called. And but it's supposed to be like um, it's 11 kratom strains, and it was like I don't know, $6, $10 for this right here. It was rather expensive. But the thing is, though, and back in the day when I was, a cokehead and all, which was bad karma. So this is related. So, bad karma. So it left my brain in a certain disdain and left out standing in the rain. Um, in that there are certain things I used to could do like really good, like remember stuff. And there are certain times now, and oh God, I hope it's not dementia or old timers, because oh, that would just suck already. And it usually has to do with names. I can see it. I can write a picture, and y'all help out sometimes too, and fill in the blank. And but thank goodness it hasn't gotten any worse. Knock on wood. But so I got some kratom, and this is train wreck. Oh, and I guess while I'm yakking about it, this is called swag, and it's kratom gummies, and it's presented like this. There's 5 of these donut-shaped gummy thingies, candies, in this resealable bag. And then also, I have run out of my green and red. The red vein is supposed to help with pain, and so in yakking with the guy, these gummy thingies, the kratom, which it's not a bad taste, but okie doke. So since I'm still in a pretty decent amount of pain, I mean I'm kind of hurting just sitting here. Normally I can find that spot good, but with the train wreck kratom and the swag here, which is supposed to give you a little buzz, um, I'm not necessarily the buzz is okay. I'll take it, but I'm not looking for the buzz. But I am looking for relief as far as the pain goes. So the green kratom here, the Mangda, is for the general overall well-being, not just for pain. It's more for mental clarity and that kind of thing. And so I had one of these, and I had one of these, and I had one of them, and I've been up for 30 hours or so. So, I'm not really scatterbrained, but have been up for 30 some odd hours. So for anybody who's been up for a long time, you know how that can get. But anyway, so in all the wonderful things that happened today with like having a good therapy session, I found out that my therapy is $240 for 30 minutes. Oh my God. And she wouldn't let me do the jets again today. We're gonna have a chat. But anyway, I feel that I'm still working out some karma. My back pain and so forth, and trying to be able to honestly walk again without stooping and little short choppy steps, which you have a tendency to learn as you get older. And no matter who it is, male or female, you're going to start slouching. When you get to 45 and beyond, you start pitching forward. That's bad karma. And because I have thought about all my friends, my friend Tommy, we've discussed it. When did our train wreck happen? When did we start going downhill? And it was about the time we was about 48-ish, hitting 50. And not any particular thing, but of course now Tommy and I both had lifted a lot of stuff, and we have a lot of we have really abused our bodies and our lower backs, but so that set our situation up to where we are, you know, pitch forward, our spine is off, and we have learned how to bend over as we walk, as that old man walk, or as that old woman that was in the pool before me today. She had that old. Sure enough, I mean, I'm what she was wearing. Now, I'm not saying she looked like a witch, but with her gray hair all haggard looking from just getting out of the pool, and the way she walked all hunched over, you could have sworn that she was out of a grim fairy tale. Okay, just by happenstance. Perfectly nice lady, although she never did speak to me as I was trying to converse. But anyway, I guess old people are like that. Um, some folks see me as a threat, I guess. Like, hi, how you doing? How's the pool today? And she's like, what? And I'm like, you doing okay? How's it feel to bounce around the pool? Is it doing you any good? And she's like, okay, you know. But my point is about the stooping. So we as human beings, these are learned behaviors. Okay. So learned behaviors, where'd they come from? I think some of this is like karmic. You know, we've been on this planet with gravity. I'll be 71 next month. And gravity has played some very cruel tricks on me. Well, of course, I don't have saggy boobies, so that's one that I dodged the bullet on. Uh, but I'll tell you what, speaking in terms of stuff, I know this is probably TMI, but I stopped by to pay a bill that I owed for the walker that I got from the hospital when I was there for my surgeries, right? So I'm standing there in the office placey thingy, and I'd met these people before, and they're from Moultrie and blah blah blah. And I'm just chit chatting away. We're just all being friendly. Well, so see, and so I'm looking over there on the wall, and they've got these butt cushions. Um, a negative check for boobs. Yeah, remember, my right boobie had been growing there for a while, and it's still kind of tender. It's kind of fun to play with a little bit. It's still got some form to it, if you will. It's about an A cup. But anyway, um, so I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm well, I guess it's been 8 months ago now. I had the colonoscopy, right? And there's still some tenderness. All right, we'll leave it at that. And I'm like, having for myself sitting a lot, and even though I've got like four pillows under me right now, my buttocks hurt. Okay, and I'm like, that, which is like never happened, right? I mean, I worked in an office and sat in a chair all the time. And, why is my buttocks so sore? I mean, the muscles are sore. It's not like around, the hole or nothing. It's my buttocks hurt. I'm like, damn, man, I just can't get comfortable. And it's not any kind of pain from nerves or anything like that. I mean, my buttocks hurt. I mean, they really hurt. So now, of all things, I'm looking into, they've got gel. It looks sort of like a tractor seat, and the way it sits, and it's the molded gel like you would get if you had in Dr. Scholl's inserts. So they've got Dr. Scholl's inserts for your butt cheeks, one on either side with padding. And I told the lady, I said, at 71, I had growing up, I had never thought that I would be in the market for something like that, just at all. Oh, well, if my butt hurts, I'll just sit on a pillow. I'm sitting on four pillows and two cushions. It ain't enough, you know. So these are, I guess you could, well, you can't take them out of the seat, but they're gel filled, the blue gel, like the blue gel, you know, but it's for your fanny. And I'm like, so how much is that? And I was like, so I'm thinking in my head, probably $55. This is you know, a, a hospital, the um, equipment type thing, walkers and crutches and that kind of thing, wheelchairs. And so this thing's got to be like $50 easy. It was only like, I think she said 44. And I was like, hmm. And so, having gotten home and sitting these last few hours, I'm thinking, man, I'm going to go back to town and buy one. I'm going to buy one of them sons of bitches. I don't know how good it would be, but like I told her, I said, I'll be a guinea pig. I said, if it just doesn't work, can I bring it back? I'm going to tear it up or nothing. She was like, well, we'll see. I mean, for $44, it ought to do something to your fanny. But, in this karmic state of like, what did I do in this lifetime to deserve to have to go look for Dr. Scholl's for my buttocks? That's going to be $50 by the time tax and dealer prep is put in. What? you know, um, oh, they're Go Bongs or something. I can't remember the name of the brand, but anyway. So, and it ain't about hemorrhoids; it's just sore buttocks. So I feel sort of like the princess and the pea. So she's got X amount of mattresses piled up. I'm sitting on two cushions and four pillows, and I can feel that pee. And it ain't the kind that drips down, right? Though that's another kind of pee. But which bothers me, in that P state of P. But anyway, what's this got to do with anything? Well, I'm thinking to myself as I adjust myself one more time, uh, try to get over to the other cheek. It's like, what did I have I done something here recently like to deserve this? you know, things have kind of been humming along, not too bad here recently, and you know, trying to get out to help some folks and been calling people and trying to get with them, and then the phone goes haywire. Okay, all right. It had a crack in the screen, but it'd been working. So, all right, time to suck it up and get a new program, etc. So, coming home tonight, my clutch had been not working, but it has been. And so, before I went in the hospital for the heart attack last year, I was having trouble with my truck, and I've got the parts and everything. It needs a new fuel pump, and you got to pull the gas tank down. And so it started working again after I did all this other work to it. Guess what quit working today? Thank God, out here in the front yard, my fuel pump. And I had just filled up the tank with premium. God almighty. So it's like, wait a minute now, is some kind of karmic crap hole following me around right now? I mean, because it's like, wait a minute, I you know I bought the gas because I would always like to have 3/4 of a tank if possible, and now it's got 3/4 of a tank, and now it's going to be heavier than squat if I got to drop the tank and put a fuel pump in it. Oh man, come on, doggone it. So I can drain some of the gas out and all that, but that's not the point. I could, if I'd have drove home, would have had less than a half a tank. And but nope, I didn't know that my truck was going to quit working. So I was all excited about hooking up the bass boat thingy, and Mossy man, how you doing? And going down to the river, I've been trying to coax a couple of my friends who are younger than me, but they are in depressed states. And I'm like, come on, gang, go with me, go down the river. I don't care if you fish or not. Let's just go boating. Let's just get the stink knocked off of us, right? And the thing that I hear, and thank God I heard from Tommy today, but it was like, well, I don't know. I've been so depressed lately. That's why you got to get the fuck out of and go with me. We don't have to go on a long expedition, but an hour or two ride down the river, and let me cast the line a little bit. And I'm not a big and I'm going to fish all day long kind of thing right now, but I want to go try out the trolling motors and the boat and get back out get back outside again. And so I'm trying to coax some of my other friends, going like, come on, you dudes, and let's go outside and let's stay active, and get me active again. And so if you go with me, that means that I got I got somebody to kind of look after me in case I do something stupid, but um but no, but I mean to actually to spend some time and to share some good outside time, and blow that karmic chaos that seems to be following some of these folk around. So Tommy tells me today, and he goes, have you ever had one of those periods of time where nothing goes right? And at the time I hadn't gone into town. And I was like, sure, but not recently. And why, are you having one? Yeah, something's following me around, he says. And I feel like I just you're working on something and this don't go through, and then this doesn't work, and then blah blah blah, and you got to do is something. Yeah, I know. So I'm like, doodly doo, everything's groovy for me. And I go to town and I'm bragging to the truck how good she's doing and how I filled her up full of premium. I mean, the 93 octane today, and patted her on the head and how I'm going to give her a bath and and she got me home and then quit. Fudge. So, it's not an issue. I do have the parts. I've got stuff and how to work on it. But my issue is that, I'm down in the back and it's going to be tough to crawl down on the ground to do this mess. But so my issue, everything was kind of humming along okay. I got to town early. I got in the pool a few minutes early, and everybody was happy that I was there early. And um, I got the cell phone, and it was already switched over. And I mean, there's a lot of good things that's happened. I went to get my medicines and only got one of them because the doctor still ain't called it in yet. So, but I ain't dead yet. But to the point of the karma, so we do the best we can. I've been doing the best I can and trying to help and do and things and stuff, right? So I hope I'm on the right track, right? So how come all of a sudden, dang, boing, boing, here we go with this? Not a clue. Not a clue. I guess I've had a fairly decent uh, a string of good luck, even though I've had pain and even though I've had to do this, and it's been very manageable. And I had bought parts for the clutch and it started working. So now I'm going to have to finish this. I fix the truck. Now I'm going to have to get in the back, find the parts, and go ahead and follow through on something I should have done almost a year ago. So shame on me, but it's lasted and I've made it this far. But I think sometimes karma says that's enough. You pushed the limits. A year ago, we warned you, when your truck broke down, you bought the parts then, and yep, and you were going to fix it then, and you had everything planned, and then you didn't. And then I started pursuing the back surgery and everything, and the truck was not an issue. Well, and then the clutch quit working. So bad karma, well, what am I going to do? Well, I got a ride right now and I'm going to have okay. So fast forward to now. And so now what? Well, karma says we let you slide till now. Now it's time to pay up, so to speak. Not necessarily in a bad way. Oh, hey, Mark the Ark. I'm sorry. Oh, and Joe, I don't have my glasses on and I'm having trouble seeing, but it's good to see you all. Here's my new little toy. So, but like for example, so the phone broke and I had to shell out $150 for a new phone. It's really nice. I like it, but still not something I was expecting to buy. Something else happened. I had to pay for the walker thing. That was okay. Paid for that. Paid off. So got bills in the mail yesterday from the hospital. $58,000 for the two operations in Thomasville. $58,000. You know what I get to pay so far? It's going to be about $550, probably a little more here and there. $58,000. That included the operations, it included the extra stay in the hospital, it included the MRI and the x-rays and all. So that ain't really that bad. I found out that Dr. Cadis he charged less than $350 to do the second surgery on me. Not bad. you know, not bad. I mean, 350 bucks for the second surgery, for 3 hours worth of work. That's, you're a surgeon, a neurosurgeon, and wow, that was a pretty good deal. Honestly, that's how. Next time I see him, I'm going to shake his hand and go, you know, you not only are you a good doctor, but you're responsible. You don't overcharge. I figured it'd been $1,000 for him to open me back up. But no, I'm like, wow. So the fact that I'm going to have to pay $500+ up to at this point over $58,000, well care, um, ain't that bad a deal for Social Security. Just saying. Now I have applied for indigent care across the board. So, and they picked up some of the deal, um, some of the bill too, but which means the state of Georgia, but screw them. So Karma says, your truck is old, Hawkeye. You should have worked on it last year when you had everything ready. And you didn't. You let it slide. Well, we did have some rainy weather and some other stuff happen too, uh, but but basically, I let it slide, and so I can't let it slide no more, Clyde. Clyde wants his full payment in full, and so karma can catch up to you. But it's like, oh my God, my truck broke down. I was going to go to the river this weekend. I was going to try to have everything ready, and I was going to go to the river this weekend, or maybe sooner. Oh, shit. I might not even be able to make it to therapy next Friday. So, because it's been too hot to try to work on anything outside, the humidity is just sucky. So, I'm going to have to rethink things. So karma says, guess what? I'm going to come back and bite you in the butt. And in a way, it's chaotic because I'm thinking, as long as I keep patting my truck on the head and keep doing the right thing, she's going to get me back and forth to uh, swim lessons twice a week for the next couple of weeks. And I'm going to be able to get better, and I'm going to be able to do these other things. And here there's a monkey wrench. So I cussed for about 15 seconds. And I was like just sitting in the truck, just motherfucking a whole line of curse words in that 15 seconds of cussing. And I just said, take a deep breath. We just being mad is really not going to fix this. And as much as I, would like to have punched something, I realized you you should have fixed it last year, Dave. Yeah, I know. You got the parts, they're in the back. Yeah, I know. You talked with Tommy and he said he'd come out and sit with you. Yeah, I know. Now it's too hot. Maybe for both of us. For me, though, I'll put a fan outside and I'll do it in the evenings because I can't just let this slide. And I do have everything it takes. So I'm just going to have to, change my karmic outlook, if you will. And instead of having, this, well, you should have done it and you got it, yeah, okie dokie. Now let's move into the present. So now I'm going to be dreaming of ways to fix it ASAP and put that on the list of, hey, we should have took care of this before. Hey, CD, how you doing? So, there are things that in our lifetimes, I can't speak for y'all, but that, you coulda, shoulda, woulda done that then. And then all of a sudden, it catches up with you. Now, in a way, that's sort of karma sneaking around and coming up to bite you in the ass. And you go, yeah, but or you had this gnawing feeling that you should have, you know, had a new or different tire fix. You should have checked the air pressure. And when was the last time you checked the air pressure in your spare tire? Which is something I checked the other day, by the way. And I was like, God, thank God I don't have a. But you never know when you're going to have a flat tire. That time that, Rhonda was coming to pick me up, it was raining and she ran over a bolt of all things that was in the side of the road. She hadn't run off the road because there was a curb, but whatever it was, she hit it with her tire just right and it went in through the sidewall just above the tread. And, in a pouring rain, I mean, pouring rain, it was flooding and left her on the side of the road. And that was the first time I drove my truck in. And thank the good Lord it ran that day, even in the rain. But so my luck's ran out. It's time for me to have done the fixing that I promised myself and the truck that I was going to do, and it's a year later and still ain't done now. So it who gets mad in an instance like this, right? There are people that, well, I knew I should have done this, and yeah, you should have, and I could have done that, and I told you, and yeah, I know you told me. You always nagging, yeah, I know I married a nagger, Holy crap, I divorced a nagger too. Nag, nag, nag. That's all she could do. So, but um, so is karma this nagger that follows us around, sort of like death, and with a scythe or a sickle. You know, if he had sickle with a cell that was anemic, never mind. Oh, that was a bad. I've been up for a long time, but so anyway, um, with the karma of things. So, I can't speak for anybody else and don't want to. And this isn't a narcissistic view of myself, it's a pathetic view of myself. It's like, man, I was a lousy father. I tried to be a good husband, but, circumstances, I never cheated. I never cheated on my wife, on any of my wives. Kind of sort of wanted to, so I cheated in my mind, but, they were cheating for real. There's a difference. I thought about it, yeah, but that was that. No, she was, they were really doing it to it. So, and more than one person in one case. So it's like, wait a minute, I just thought about one person, thought about it. And you did it with two separate times, I think. But anyway, who knows? But, so Karma can play these strange, weird tricks on us. So, in talking about, like previous karma from another lifetime, well, I think there have been times when I've had, in earlier on in life, I had a string of some crappy luck. Some of it was because I made some bad choices, hung out with the wrong friends, and that got me in trouble. And then, of course, being drunk and high on cocaine, and then the helicopters that busted me in my own backyard for, a couple of marijuana plants, you know, um, circumstances. I was in my own backyard, not hurting anybody. It's like a long time forgotten, the dreams that just fell by the way, the good times of, anyway. He promised her, ain't what she's living today. But anyway, so, I wasn't out on the street selling, heroin. I was growing a little bit of weed in my own backyard and got caught with a helicopter. So, there are differences. Well, you got busted with, drugs. Yeah, I know. But I was not out on the street corner. I live 20 miles in from town. There's a difference. So, but it's still, yeah, but you still did it. Okay. So, there is that karma. I got busted in Tampa, and then, I went straight and everything was groovy. I served my time, I served my probation, I paid my fines, I had a job and was being a good person in the community. And then I get busted with, a couple of marijuana plants in my woods. So there went all the work that I had done to gain my respect and whatever back in the community. And then I couldn't get a job. Oh, you're the guy that, they busted with the helicopters. Yes, sir. So now I don't know how I deserved that karma. And I think it's because it's the fact that I knew when I planted them out there down in the woods that I shouldn't have been doing it. I shouldn't have been doing it. Something told me I shouldn't have been doing it. But no, man, I got to have me a little bit of smoke, man. I can't afford none because but oh, Lord have mercy. And then the helicopters came, So that was that. Lesson learned. Should have followed my instincts, right? So there are times when, not all of us, but there are times, I don't know, bad things befall us when we just have that knot in our stomach that says, I told Aunt Gladys we shouldn't have come. I told Aunt Gladys we should have stayed home and come at another time. And, whatever it was that Aunt Gladys, that was going to Aunt Gladys's was going to do. But the car broke down, or, it rained the whole time, or whatever. So, do we create the karma? And I would say absolutely. Because when I was drinking and partying all the time, I was building up chips. And some might say, well, I'm paying for some of that still, even though it's been a long time ago. A long time forgotten, the dreams that just, yeah. Um, Waylon Jennings. Um, but that is karma catching up with me for all of those, I didn't harm anybody back then, okay? I just spent an excess money. I had the money, but I could have spent it on something else, kind of thing. Paid all my bills, and I bought some more cocaine, and invested in the coke. Thank God we didn't get busted with that. Holy shit, I'd still be in jail. couple of ounces of cocaine. That's not just a little snort. That's 2 ounces of cocaine. Yeah, that would have hurt. Um, so at the time, I knew I was pushing the envelope because of my addiction to coke and MDA and that type of thing. So, I feel that I sort of built up some karma there. Even though I didn't harm anyone, I wasn't out to like make money or do or whatever. I was just out to party and have a good time. And we did. So, but in doing so, there were things that got ignored. So, and looking back on those things, it's like, well, I ignored doing this, or I should have done that, or a friend of mine, he could have used a hand, and you were out partying and snorting coke and getting drunk. Yeah, well, he could have come. But that's that. You look back and go, yeah, but I could have done it differently. I could have still partied, had a couple of beers, and still had a good time, honestly. But at the time, I felt like I just had to have me a line of coke and or two or three, and and have some other pills and smoke some weed and be doing some drinking all at the same time. So did I push my own karmic story? Mike, yeah, go ahead, Dave. Go ahead. You have free will. You have free will to do free willy if you want to, but you can do whatever you want to, even if it means killing somebody. Doesn't mean it's morally right, but well, I don't want to hurt nobody. What about yourself? Well, I don't want to hurt nobody, but what about yourself? Well, what about the friends that you hurt because you were hurting yourself? And they were standing by going, "What? He's in self-destruct mode." Yeah, well, it's my body. It's my body. I can do what I want to. Kind of sort of like you know, um, taking out babies. Um, boy, I cannot think of that word for some reason at the moment. The swing to the left is as the swing to the right. Oh, both sides have been invaded by the body snatchers, by the showing up, aliens. So I would say personally, in looking back at on my situation, had I not done as much coke or other stuff, or come to find out, I put article the other day about people who are doing acid, and going to work and stuff, and how now their clinical trials are such that, and if y'all heard me tell the stories that back in the 80s I was dosing every day. I was talking. I was doing precision grinding. I used to talk to my machine, and people laughed at me and everything, and I watched this news article. I was like, what the fudge? there there are these professionals who are now dosing different ways with LSD and going off to work. I was way ahead of my time. I was way ahead of, because this was in the 80s, okay? This was way in I was way ahead of the times. So now everybody wants to like, ooh, this is cool to do. What? you know, hey, sorry. And y'all have heard me talk about this, so I'm not trying to make this up to try to like fit with the current events. No, I talked about this years ago, and now it's like, oh no, this is the thing to do. Hmm. Maybe I should do clinical trials for y'all. I got a lot of experience. Nah, I don't know. But anyway, so what I might have considered, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Now there are people, literally 30 years later, almost 40 years later, come to think of it, now they're doing what I did back then. And I was starting to feel guilty about it 40 years later, going, man, I don't know if I should have been doing that, and it wasn't that it was so much money because I'd made extra money working overtime and stuff. And I was making, $13 an hour. That was my overtime pay, about 13 to $15, and you put 10 hours in overtime and, that's not bad. That's 130 bucks for, a 10-hour shift. And went back in the 80s, that was good money. So when you can buy a 50 sheet thing of blotter acid, for $75, not a bad deal. Sell a few and keep the rest, which is what I did. But was it the right thing to do? Well, hindsight, I feel guilty, but now other people are doing it. It's like it becomes the norm. So was I just ahead of the curve? And should I feel guilty about it now? Because I was kind of not beating myself up over it, but I was like, man, maybe I shouldn't have done all that shit. You know, I could have been a better person. Well, but here's the thing: I could have, should have, would have, could have, would have, all that stuff. Whatever it was, and like I said, I wasn't out to kill nobody. I wasn't trying to instigate fights or nothing. I was just high all the time, really high all the time. Didn't hurt nobody. Wasn't fighting. Still ain't. But I was high all the time. This is a cool stone pipe. Got some just markings on it, but it reminded me of these. It's not really a fleur de lis. I'm either really starting to see little green men because I've been up for so long. Hey Michelle, how are you? Oh, send me a text, please. I have my new cell phone now because the other one is hosed and is turned off now, and everything's switched to the new one. Send me a text and say hi, it's me, so I can add you back into the contacts. But anyway, ow, there goes that butt talk issue. So I have listened to some folks, and I mentioned this on Robert V's channel, and I'll mention it here to probably piss some folks off. But talking about the Akashic record thing, and how do we find out about our own history? Well, we go visit our own Akashic record history. And my history ain't like nobody else's. We might have met previously in another time and zone, in another galaxy far, far away. And we may have actually crossed paths at some point. Maybe we were reincarnated on, around this earth. Um, and so, as I've talked about before, I absolutely believe that we are members of the League of Like Minded Beings. So, the fact that if you just have that common, yeah, we all think, you know, about this and we all are similar. And absolutely, we don't get out guns, we don't have fisticuffs, we have discussions, which is the way it ought to be. And we can listen to these, God, I swear these folks are just soft headed ninnies. Some of these folks that I swear to God thought had a little bit of common sense. uh, just what? Just what? Are you freaking kidding me? Some of the stuff that's in the news, I mean, like, Whoopi Goldberg, got to talk about Whoopi for a minute. And her stint with the Alan Dean thingy, or his name, I'm tired and forget. But, you know, the fact that there was all the things that, she is recorded, having been on TV live and in color, colored, talking about this stuff, and how pitifully, unmercifully wrong they all are and were and still are and will be tomorrow. And the fact that they're still on the air peddling this stuff, and you go, well, there they go again. No, the stuff, they're lies. They are making shit up as they go. And the fact that I used to have feelings for Whoopi, in that, here's a black woman that made it into Hollywood and blah, 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 blah. She's talented, and sister act and all that kind of stuff. Okie dokie. But what happened to her brain? Just these other ladies, right? What has happened to their mushy brains? Now, the comment suggestion is that, like, and I have subscribed now in the last 2 months to at least 15 new black channels, owned, operated, persons of color other than me, and to listen to their point of views and who they interview. And I'm like, God, dog, I didn't know y'all felt that way. I'm glad, but I didn't know y'all felt that way. So, which is a good thing, because them folks on the View are trying to tell me that the rest of y'all black folk out there want to kill me. You hate my guts. Now, there is a certain percentage. There was one of these little, sort of like a TikTok video thing. White man was interviewing folks on the street corner. And she was like, "Get away, white boy. Don't get near to me." And he goes, "Well, do you feel racist in any way?" And she goes, "Oh, hell yeah, I'm racist. You white people owe us for slavery and all this other kind of stuff." And he started saying, "Well, it was black on black crime back in Africa," which it was and still is. Folks going out and out whole small tribes and raping the women and doing and carrying them off and selling them, not just to the Americas, but to other places too. I mean, there's still slavery going on, and it ain't just with black, white, whatever. Slavery's going on in China, you know. So this idea, though, that wait a minute, hang on, it is still going on today. Who gets reparations for what? Well, blame it on the elite. Okie doke, but still ain't going to do nobody no good. because what's the important thing about it is that we do better from it. So is it karma though? You know, have somehow through Africa, through China, through the Mongols and the Genghis Khan, who made a bunch of slaves. The Romans took and did a bunch of slaves of all colors. It just wasn't blacks from Africa. No, they were making slaves out of Swedish women and stuff. With their fair skin and their blonde hair, because Italians don't normally have blonde hair. You know what I mean? So they had to add a blondie to the cookie jar over the years, and they didn't have a clever girl rinsing hair anyway back in the Roman days. So do I look like Kolchak? Do you know who that is? The Night Stalker. I love Tubi. Oh my God, there's a couple of episodes of Kolchak and Darren McGavin. Oh my God, I really liked him. He was good in that. But anyway, and now I'm sitting underneath this light, and so the stage is set. Have you seen the video where Black America actually learned about slavery and they're like, what the, yeah, they were lied to, absolutely. Miss Pearl, I was praying for you outside today before I went for my swim and walk on the treadmill. Walk like an Egyptian. Ding, 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 ding. Never mind. But did you get the apartment? Didn't you say that the 8th? And technically it's the 9th now, but anyway, I hope all is well. But anyway, oh, it's almost 22, isn't it? I really can't see that far. My eyes are squinty. Oh, it's 123. Crap. I missed it by 3. Well, I guess I started about on time. But anyway, so you watch the chaos in the news, and the sure enough, just like, how could you say that? That is so not right. It is like lie after lie after lie after lie. Like Whoopi going into this thing about how, about the small town song thing, and about how it was so racist and it was, white slavery. And it was like, what? So watching all of the black community react to her and reacting to the song with a positive attitude, and seeing how we as Americans, regardless of our skin color, we really are together on this. We really are. I was like, kind of sort of had mixed feelings, like, well, let me check out a couple of these YouTube channels and let's listen in. And then when I started listening, I was like, these folks are like me. They were Democrats at one time and now want to vote for Trump or somebody else and not Biden. And how that, no, they're not racist. And yes, there are some, that one black woman that was out on the street, she was just as racist as that. She should have had a Klan suit on. I ain't lying. So if white people wear white hoods and capes, then do black people who think like the Klan Antifa sorts, so they should dress in all black with pointy hats too. That would be interesting, you know. It'd be stupid, but it'd be interesting. All these years, me growing up as a kid, you know, and especially me traveling through the South on with the carnival, and we had a couple of black guys that worked with us and traveled with us in the summer. And Clyde and the other guys? They were brothers. They used to take me to the juke joints, you know, and drink Boone's Farm Strawberry Hill wine and get packed up as a 13-year-old. Yeah, I remember them days. You know, I'm met some really interesting people in the back alleys of some of these small town, you know, rural South Georgia and Alabama back in the '60s. You know, anyway, uh, the life I've led, but it wasn't anything special. Just enlightening, you know, and then playing with lightning, you know, like being on the carnival and stuff like that, and rural small town Georgia, Alabama, and Florida, you know, because that's where the carnival played. But by seeing that, though, and I'm glad because it gave me the opportunity to see all the two different cultures through the growing up in the South when there sure enough was race riots. Having been, you know, in the middle of a riot in Cuthbert, Georgia, and I mean, you know, there were people who got shot and cut and went to jail. And there were those of us who just, you know, shat our pants several times and had to tear down the ride in the pouring rain. Listen to the pouring rain, listen to it pour. Anyway, and we had to be gone by 10 o'clock the next morning by ourselves. We had to tear down in the rain and get out of town. And the carnival got fined a lot of money, and several people went to jail and had to pay large fines when it was their fault, not ours. So, you know, having grown up down here and then like today and going into town and, you know, blacks and whites and hi, how you doing? And holding the door for me and holding the door for somebody else. And, you know, just, you know, somebody said, you know, oh, there was something on a YouTube video about somebody in Georgia and about how this person was so racist. Listen, you found one person in Georgia that's acting out. Like I said, you know, I'm not going everywhere and anywhere, but, you know, I am getting back around and rubbing elbows with folks again. And, you know, you bump into people going into a store or something like that. And there's a black man holding a door for a white lady, and there's a white lady holding a door for a little black lady. And there's a homeless guy sitting on a corner, and, you know, there's two guys that are working together in a van, and they stop and give him a drink, and somebody hands him a sandwich, and they, we'll see you later, Clyde. And he kind of his bench because they know this guy. So it's like deep south. Are there racist people down here? Probably somewhere. But when you just go around day to day, you just don't see it. I'm sure there are. You know, this is not a perfect place. But generally, you know, and some of the times it's like people that you least expect. It's like some little old white lady. She goes, "Oh, hi, Sonny, how you doing?" Talking to this, you know, 6'6" black gentleman who obviously does outside some kind of, you know, strong type of work, and they're just chit chatting back and forth, you know, and you'd go like, "Wait, Where's the racism that, I still don't see it? Is there? Yeah. But man, I would say it'd be like 1%. And to the point, though, that there are some black folk who have been convinced that they need reparations because of slavery. Well, wait a minute. What about all of those? There were, what was the number? There were 6 or 8 thousand black farmers during the Civil War, pre Civil War, who owned like total, there like 10,000 slaves. Black owners of plantations owned black slaves. And it's like, wait a minute, hang on. And when I heard those statistics, I was like, no joke. And then heard it from another location, and so it seems that the census bureaus and everything that you took back in those days, and because slaves are property, taxes and all, they wanted to know where everybody was, even back then. Um, so there were black plantation owners, yeah, that held 10,000 slaves. Now that was like for the whole shebang, but wait, even your own people are not, free of this. You don't blame it on Whitey. That just isn't fair. It was across the board with many denominations. There was some Dutch that I was reading about today, and that they were really kind of brutal. It was like the Dutch Netherlands, and it was like, wait a minute, aren't these folks supposed to be them nice, people, and oh, that man, nah, not really. There's some closed-minded sons of bitches, and would string you up in a heartbeat if you didn't, believe what they were talking about. Kind of, sort of, not necessarily Viking descent, but Northlandic ish, and not too nice. you know but anyway, so they're like extra white. They're like bleach white. But but anyway, the idea, though, that race is, well, it's within the person. And I don't and it just so happens that whatever that person's skin is that they are residing in during this reincarnation for them, because it's their karmic trip kick that they have to learn from. It's their trip that they have to learn how to say, well, what, so I'm going to go with Catholic. So you say, wait a minute, I'm going to be Catholic, and so I'm going to, sweet Jesus, I'm going to, the sign of the cross, and I'm going to go to church on Sundays. I'm an altar boy. I believe in, I want the sacraments, and I'm going to do it right, which is what I did at an earlier age. But, there are still some Catholics who, still believe, even though the church has changed a lot, you know, um, but in my heart, I still believe in these same core values, but I just don't believe in the church. So I haven't changed well, I guess I have. I have changed my religion. Okay, I'm no longer Catholic, but I have not changed my faith. Ah, because I still believe in Christ. I still believe in be doing the right thing. But there's only one commandment for me, and that commandment is the law of one, to do no harm. Period. If you don't do any harm to anybody, have you're a saint. So how do we do this? So in this karmic thing, So I know because of dreams and some past history things and doing some, mushrooms back in the day and to try to find out, why I was here on this property. And then I learned, as I talked about it before, that, I'm here to right some things that I did, back 150, 200 years ago. I literally was a white redneck moonshine drinking some bitch, and mistreated the natives, mistreated women, mistreated children, and uh, just, uncalled for. And I made a couple of mistakes this time around with my own kids. Of course, they helped in the matter. You know, I could have done better, but they could have been done a little better too themselves. When I'm in the hospital having a neck operation, it's not the time to bitch at me about being a bad father. You know, I'm having an operation. I can't talk to you right now because I just opened my throat and I feel like I swallowed a goat. I know an old lady who swallowed a goat. She just opened her throat and swallowed the goat. Never mind. But, so how we react, how we act in certain circumstances for our own personal self. Well, Aunt Millie came over the other day. Oh, and she pissed me off. And Aunt Millie, all she did was getting our business and talk about this and talk about this. And yeah, well, hadn't seen Aunt Millie in a long time. Yeah, but every time Aunt Millie comes over, all she does is yak, 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 yak. And Aunt Millie, she just pisses me off. And well, I just wish that old bag would die. Man, you and Aunt Millie, way, whoa, hang on now. Whoa, 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 hang on. That's not necessarily, the you're supposed to be thinking good thoughts, and it's sort of like the southern ladies that go, oh, you heard about, that, um you've heard about Miss Jones. Yeah. Oh, bless her heart. Yeah, her husband ran out on it. Oh, bless her heart. Bless her little heart. You know, that's how they can do and talk about it because they're like, well, bless her heart. We're going to have to say a prayer for her. But did you hear that her husband was seeing such a bless her heart? And did you hear that, then the gossip goes on, bless her heart, for whatever the gossip is. So, and they're, just because they're going, bless their heart, don't mean that they should be gossiping. You know what I mean? So, but does that add to your karmic? Is that, well, I talked to her, I got her out of a bad mood. Yeah, but all you did was gossip for the last 3 freaking hours with her. Yeah, but she was smiling and feeling and good. Yeah, and you got into her tonic too, didn't you? Well, Granny's always made that tonic now. Yeah, y'all drank some of that tonic. Now y'all drunkard and shit off that moonshine because that's what it is. Well, yeah, but if you mix it with a little bit of Coca-Cola, yeah, yeah, because that's what I heard when I first moved to Moultrie back in, well, I heard it because we bought moonshine from a, sorry to say it, but a black gentleman with a, old Chevrolet pickup truck standing in the rain, quarts of some of the finest moonshine you ever want to lick to. And so I've always considered, as long as whatever color the person was, as long as they were respectable and we could communicate, because on the carnival you run into people all the time, and you're working with crowds and this and that, and there are times when folks are drunkard and snot, and you got to calm them down, otherwise you're going to have a riot on your hands. And came close too many times over the years. especially, when we were playing Marshall High School out there. There's solid black. Woo-wee. And we were the only white people for miles. And a big old man says, I want a bite of your hamburger. And I was like, no, sir, this is for somebody else. Please don't eat the hamburger. You know, I'll give you some money and I'll buy my own hamburger. I don't have any. Turned out my pockets. I think I was 12 or 13. Big black man that had me by the throat and lifting me up, going, give me a bite of that hamburger, boy. No, sir, please don't hurt me. I about shit a gold brick that night. But anyway, it worked out. I'm still alive. I ain't dead yet. But so anyway, it seems that even though I've been roughed up a few times, I've never been shown a beat up. Now I know, and certain places in Tampa where you can get the shit knocked out of you. I know that if you're down in West Tampa or you down on 22nd Street down in the projects, you gonna get hurt. I, you know, Same thing. I've been down on LaSalle Street up there in Chicago many years ago, and some folks you just don't go down there. You just don't. Now that doesn't make it right. But for people to say, well, we gonna clean up LaSalle Street, okay, go ahead. And then when three or four of you get shot or something bad happens, because you're gonna clean up LaSalle Street or you're gonna clean up 22nd Street down in Tampa or down in West Tampa, you know, um, down on Armenian down in there. No, 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 no. Somebody's gonna shoot your ass, and just because they're crazy, they're just out there slinging sideways and pulling the trigger, and you just might be in the way, or you could be getting robbed too. So, but anyway, so is it everybody? No. Are there people who are like Bonnie and Clyde? Yeah. Are there people who are like the days back in the day of Dillinger? Yes. And in this day and age, for whatever the reason, and maybe it's because folks have watched too many old movies and the gangster, I said stuff years ago. I said this gangster rap and stuff is just going to be the downfall of some folk. And I have talked about it previously in that, you're it's gonna shoot that nigga, listen here, wait a minute. You're gonna pop a cat and somebody's ass and gonna shoot that cop, down on the square, and you're gonna do what? Well, it's in this song and it goes on and gonna get that booty, gonna do this thing and like, wait a minute. I'm listening to the graphics of this rap song and I'm kind of sort of freaking out. I ain't no prude, but you're talking about, you know, fucking that booty and slapping that ass and I'm like, hang on, that just isn't music to me. It's uh, okay. Oh, but it's rap and it's a different form and it's a every artist and yeah, okay. But I'd really rather would listen to jungle drums than to listen to some of this stuff because it's I don't know, this is wrong. you know, Oh, I can say what I want. And yeah, and you're talking about cunts and asses and this and that and shooting and killing. And do you have to? Well, but I have the right to express myself. Okay, but do you have to say it like that? I mean, just honestly, do it. Yeah, but I would, okie doke. But do you have to? I'm just saying. Do you have to? Would I have the right? Yes, but must you? So say it to your friends in the back room back there, rather than selling and million and a half records of this cursing and yipping and sorry, but it's very distasteful to me um and I the beat's kind of weird and whatever, but the words and the lyrics and oh my God, you couldn't have done something else? Just saying, So do is it any wonder? Is it any wonder I've got too much time on my hands and it's making me wait? And oh crap, here we go with the music. But I mean, in that fact that people have expressed their opinion and they have their God-given right to say whatever they want. Okay, but now there's a generation of punks and thugs on both sides. I knew some white thugs listening to that and going down the street and have with their drawers hanging down. I mean, pathetic for any of them. I mean, your drawers are down to your knees. It's all you can do to waddle. It just look, but I have. It's my right to look the way I want. I went through that phase, but my pants were up. I went through that phase. I dressed differently back in the hippie days. I get it, but my pants were up. I wore dashikis and different things and patches and was wearing, uh, Vietnam kind of sort of garb. People get in trouble for it now, but, I was respecting the army, you know, and by wearing some of these, field jackets and things when it was cold and other stuff. But anyway, and I was like, no, man. They were like, well, you're by wearing that, you're dishonoring the Fifth Airborne. I'm like, no, you don't get it. I'm wearing this, with you should take the patch off. And I'm like, I didn't know what half of them meant. I didn't know what any of them meant, to be honest. And I was like, no, I'm wearing this to honor the men of the army because I couldn't serve because I got my leg broken. So y'all don't pick on me because I'm wearing these clothes, but I got picked on a lot, especially by Father Balthazar at Tampa Catholic. So, don't tell me, that I didn't get picked on, for clothes and whatever, and, in my environment versus the Catholic Church and political thing. Vietnam War, it was a big freaking deal. So my point about, yeah, there are friends of mine who went through similar types of things. And, they weren't, it was their way of speaking against the Vietnam War by wearing a dead soldier's uniform. Well, that's a disgrace. No, we didn't try to claim to be a soldier or to be his rank or to in any way insinuate that. Nope. But we wore the whoever the GI was in honor of the fact that he served. And here's his uniforms and here's his skivvies and stuff, and and we're just throwing them away. Wait, I'll wear them. Yeah, but they're old, uniforms and they got patches on them. And, now I never wore any medals, but there were some patches. Now, this was in the 60s that I probably should not have worn. But I felt so strong about, representing those who had served. And this was in the 60s. I mean, you've seen some of them old reels where, guys were getting shot up in the. You've seen the stories about what went on in Vietnam, and this was every day, um, as we were sitting down to eat, dinner. So, in the karma of things, so growing up and watching these things now at my age, not that I'm trying to pull rank on anybody, but it's just a simple matter of having lived this long and having seen these news articles and to have seen people maimed and friends of mine that came back screwed up in the head forever, ever, amen. And to have been pedophiled by priests in the Catholic Church and to have actually, been a part of the scene that was, this troubled times. So here we are all these years later in a different type of troubled times, but they're still troubled, you know? So have we learned from our mistakes? Have we learned from the karma that we put down? Have we gotten any closer to getting it right? And it depends on who you talk to as to what does it mean about getting it right. Because, I'm no longer a Democrat. Oh my God, you voted for Trump? Oh hell yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe it. No, you voted for Trump? Yep. Oh, I can't talk to you. Go away. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, I'm having a heart attack. Well, that's your tough shit. But have you just like not listened here recently? Um, Now I know that I don't have to buy premium gasoline for my truck, but I have since I bought her in 98. Okay. So I buy 93 octane because it makes my truck run better. And it really does. It rooms. She's been running great till the fuel pump went out. So anyway, um, but it was $4.11 a gallon for the wait. No, it was more than that. It was three. No, it was yeah, 4.35, I guess, or for a premium for the 93 octane. And I looked at the cheaper, and I thought to myself, I refuse to run the lower octane. And people, but that's just crazy. You should be able to run regular. I can, but she'll ping and won't go up the hills. I just, and I know that race cars and other cars and high performance, you always run a higher octane. She's got almost 300,000 miles on her, doesn't leak any oil, and she's, other than the fuel pump going, she runs like a bat out of hell, for this little 4-cylinder Mazda truck. And so it's like, so that's always been my thing. I want to treat my baby to good gas. Hey, that way, how you doing? I just noticed. If I fall asleep, oh, okay, sleep well, Witch Moon. Yep. What is 1 o'clock Central? 2 o'clock. Yeah, an hour, almost 2 hours. Golly, I've been doing this almost 2 hours again. I can yak on, can I? But so anyway, there are so many variables in life from day to day. So, things were humming along pretty good. Me and Doug were staying here at the house pretty much, and then we start venturing out and interacting with people. Well, then, but the thing is that no matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you plan, sometimes there's a car that comes out of nowhere and smacks you like it did to Martha and I that one time. It slowed down and waiting at the traffic light, and somebody slammed into us doing about 30 miles an hour. Whoo-wee! Scared us, like to hurt us. Thank God we was, buckled in and with a high seat for to protect our craniums and so forth. But they just scooted around us and ran right through the red light. I mean, literally ran through the red light. But so you can be sitting there having a cup of coffee and minding your own business, and something happened. Is that karma being pushed upon you? Well, but it was somebody else's karma, and I just happened to be there. Well, but in the grand scheme of things, are you paying attention? Well, what do you mean? Well, you were standing there on the corner and kind of looked around and felt like something was off. Did you know that there was a truck coming down the hill up there that the driver, got knocked out and the brakes don't work and the truck's headed your way? You see it? Yeah, well, is somebody going to stop it? Do you see the truck coming down the hill? Yeah. Is somebody going to stop it? Why? Well, because it's headed straight for me. Well, dumbass, what do you think you should do in this karmic event? Well, what do you mean? Well, is somebody going to stop the truck? You're not paying attention. But somebody's going to got to stop the truck because it's going to hit me. Dumbass. The lesson is get out of the way. What's the lesson? Well, I'm going to jump in the truck and say, no, the lesson here is get the flip out of the way. That's the lesson. It's not real hard. Yeah, but the car is coming in the truck and it's going to kill. Yeah, can you get to anybody? No. Are you going to stand here and piss yourself? And who's going to stop the truck? It's headed straight for me. Get out of the way, dumbass. That's the lesson. That's but in life, in karma, what is it? But it coulda, shoulda, but and I didn't know, and I was like, get out of the way, dumbass. I don't want to pick on blondes, male or female. But sometimes it's a blonde moment. It's like, what? Um, well, what should I do? Get out of the way. But what if get out of the way? you know, the last cell phone I had, special dial, right? To dial a company at now, I am not beating up on the company. Not at all. I thought about the situation, was going to get the service, but then I got to thinking, so it takes more steps to get in touch with the Lively group for them to call 911 when it only takes phone 911 enter, and I got 911 myself, and it doesn't cost me $35 a month to have the service for somebody else to call 911 for me. So if I have a decent phone and I learn how to dial 911 myself, I'm going to teach Duggar how to do it. Or the, there ought to be an app somewhere that you just hit a button and it dials 911 for you. So, but, so I was averse to spending another $40 a month for something, you know, I'm sitting here in the house. Yeah, well, I'm having a heart attack. Well, maybe, but man, let me call the doctor. And no, you're not. How you doing? Okie doke. What's your BP like? Well, I think I'm still breathing. Okay. Well, then don't go to the hospital. You're all right. Just monitor it. Okie doke. Karma. You learn from your mistakes, hopefully. And I would say that I've made some mistakes and I've learned some things. And I'm still paying by not being able to see my grandson for my behavior. And I understand. But that was like 15 years ago ish. And what was going on 15 years ago with me and my literally my brain, I was having seizures and I was, going different medicines, legal medicines, had been thrown into the crazy house, literally Southwestern State Hospital for the crazy folk, and having been through that part of the system and being manhandled and tied and this and that, and beat up and wait a minute. So I feel for some of these folks because I've been in their situations, at least close. And I think to myself, it's indignant. So what do you lose when you feel indignant somehow? Well, what do you mean, Hawkeye? Well, I kept telling them I wasn't crazy, but they locked my ass up anyway. They still say that I owe them money for the ambulance ride. And I told them to shove it up their ambulance it starts with an A. So, but here I was wanting my medicines and something to eat and a place to pee. And I had to fight off five big, large, burly guys. And of course, they caught it on, inside body cans and stuff. And I looked like the madman because I wanted out of the hospital. They were holding me against my will. And the louder I hollered, the worse it made my situation. He's still hollering. Give me something to eat. I'm hungry. Bring me a place, something to pee in, and I'm banging on the door. So, because I was banging on the door and demanding something to eat, because it'd been like 12 hours or more since I'd had anything, my medicine was wearing off. I was going into a cold sweats and stuff and things, and low blood sugar level, blah, blah, blah. And they had me strapped to a table, which I got untied from myself. So, which freaked them out too. So here, all I am is the crazy one. When all of their eyes, because someone had said, well, he must be crazy. He's having a nervous breakdown. Would bring me something to eat, will you? Well, but he's having a nervous breakdown. Let's not give him anything to eat in case he has some kind of, and he throws up or something. We don't want him to choke on his own. I'm hungry. Bring me something to eat. Well, no, now calm down. Well, then there's a shift change. And the only notes are this man has had an outburst. So now I'm really hungry. So I'm pounding on the door. This is karma, right? Because I want their attention. Well, I'm in the right. I simply want something to eat. Bring me one of those crummy sandwiches from the cafeteria. That's all I'm asking. And some water, okay? Not a biggie. Karma says, no, you can't have it. Why? Because you got to learn a lesson. Well, what the fuck did I do this time? Did I have to be locked up at Southwestern with some really crazy people? I realized then I didn't need any medicine. When I saw some of them folks who are really insane, when you look into their eyes and it's like, I can't even fake what the look looks like from some of these people. It is scary. It's really, really scary. Very scary. But so the karmic chaos. So for me, that had gone through this chaos when, I I just wanted to get a checkup and I ended up in the emergency room and I ended up in the crazy house. And then I had this and that and this and that. And it was like I didn't do anything except, demand my rights. And they were going, you don't have any rights. Well, like, why? Because somebody said you were crazy. Wait, so somebody Baker acted me. I think he's crazy. He's going to have to go to Southwestern for 3 or 4 days. Holy crap in a bag. Just let me go home. I'm hungry. And so you end up in another place and in another time zone, in another dimension that is unlike or possibly similar to the Twilight Zone. Because you look around and you just go, I can't believe this is happening. Now, life goes on, life, da da day after day, hearts torn in every way. So ferry cross the Mersey, 'cause this land's the place I love. Sorry, I'm into the Londoners at the moment, I reckon. So strange events that just kind of all of a sudden happened. You went for a drive, you went to go visit a friend, and the next thing you know, you're in lockup. I mean, really. So now, what's that got to do with anything? You say, well, wait a minute, but what did I do to deserve this? I must have done something wrong to get put in the happy house for 3 days, with some really crazy people. So, was it the fact that for me and my spirit that they said, Dave, the only way for you to really experience what Daniel felt in the lion's den is to go sit next to him. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. It's not good enough for me to like look at the pictures of Daniel in the lion's den. I gotta go sit with him. Yep. Well, some bitch. So when life throws us curveballs, sometimes the karma of it is we have to learn how to swing at them curveballs and maybe just maybe you don't knock it out of the park, but you can send one right down across the pitcher's mound and make him jump for it, right? Now we're stepping into the twilight zone. Wasn't sure how long. I'm barely hanging in there. I'm literally. It's been almost 2 days that I've been up, but I've been drinking Kickstart. Um, and that's just because I like black cherry, and I've been drinking coffee. It's Barry's birthday. Is it really? Honest to God, Barry? Oh, I got mice around here, and a damn rat too, and they keep chewing into the loaf of bread. But I got some of these decon baits, and they're about yay long, kind of squarish. Well, actually, more rectangular ish, except it's got four sides. But I put a couple of them out. You're supposed to put them in the little trap, right? I just put them out. I put one actually between the first and second floor over here where I seen one of them mice crawling up the damn electric wire going to the upstairs. He was taking a shortcut. He didn't go to stairs. He went up the escalator. Anyway, so I put a damn chunk of this, decon rat poison right over there on almost on that wire. And a couple of, so I went back a couple of days later, it's gone. The whole chunk is gone. And it hasn't fallen, it's gone. I had another one in behind the stove, and I thought maybe it had fallen on the floor. It's gone. So the rat and the mice, I have not seen them scurrying like they were a few days ago. And so I don't know if they have eaten the poison and are now defunct. But the rat, I'm sorry, the mice are one thing. They're like this big. The rat's like this big, and that's not counting his tail. So it's like a couple of years ago, karma, okay? The rat had a couple rats in the house up in the ceiling between the first and the second floor. Could hear them running between the bathroom and the kitchen and back, and scurrying and making noises. Son of a bit. So then one night I hear this thump, 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 thump. It's like a huge drip in the sink, but it ain't a drip in the sink. It's a thump, 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 thump. And there's a cadence to it, and there's a deepness to it, and a thump, thump, thump. It's like then it quit. And I thought I heard a little squeal, and I tried to look up into the ceiling to see if where the rat was or what was going on. And so I get this mirror on a steak, and I look up in there and shine the flashlight, and there is my very large, has been around the farm as long as I can remember, very large rat snake. The 7 foot long one that looks like an anaconda. Okay. And I mean, the one that has been through my legs, it's been in the house forever. And it's sort of got a place over the bathroom right in there. And so I knew that the snake had been in there because insulation falls down through this little tiny crack between the bathroom and the house. And the beats his tail, maybe to get the rat's attention, but I think it's because he's squeezing the rat, and the tail thumping is like the throws. It's the snake's drumming of the death toll, the death knell. Anyway, thump, 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 ee, ee, thump, thump, ee. You know, this snake is. I have held it up over my head with its with this much of it on the ground. So it's a 7 foot snake, easy, and it's huge. It's got a big. It's a beautiful snake, and so it can come in my attic in the bathroom in there and thump all it wants to if it's going to eat them rats. You go right ahead, But Dave, Hawkeye, aren't you scared? I'm scared of the rat. I ain't scared of that 7.5 foot snake. I'm scared of that rat now. I don't want and it eats things like wiring and I'll take the snake. It don't get into my cookies. The rat does, for real. So I was having issues with the rat. Now, I'm worried if the rat eats the poison, the rat has moved the poison, that's for sure. But that if the rat eats the poison and gets sickly, and then because of its slower speed with dying from the poison, then the snake, who I've not heard from recently, eats the rat, and then both of them die of poisoning. You don't want the snake to die, for goodness sakes. But oh my goodness gracious. So what do I do? Do I pull the rat poison? And hope that the snake gets the rat or the mice? Them mice is quick. I'm here to tell you. I mean, literally, two of them ran out from underneath my chair and one of them across my foot and headed towards Duggar over there on the floor and into the kitchen. Uh, Within 2 seconds, I was like blinded by how fast. Like you remember Speedy Gonzalez? Sí, señor. Sí, señor. Andale, arriba! And off he goes, These little sons of bitches were just back and forth across the house. And I ain't seen them. So they've gotten into something, and it might be the poison or it might be that big snake. So, but the snake has lived in over the bathroom for 30 years now or more. I've seen him on the floor and people getting freaked out about it. And they go, "Oh, you got a snake in your house?" Well, I might have a snake. He crawls out there in the thing and he goes over here. And the snake doesn't, when it's in the wintertime, you can pretty much bet that snake's probably in the ceiling in there. But summertime and he's out prowling and going around. And actually, I think it's a she. But anyway, so is that instant karma for me? What do you mean, Hawkeye? Well, because the snake comes back all these years and thump, thump, thump is still taking care of the rats. Oh, well, is that in my favor or is that a curse? Well, you have to wait on the snake to come back. Well, I wasn't waiting on the rats, and don't know where the son bitch came from, but because, we shoot them things and don't, once I got rid of the rats before, where are they coming from? Where is this populace of rats coming from? I haven't gone anywhere to like collect them. Mice, that's another story. But rats, so where are they coming from? Um, you know, the, but anyway, so but having to deal with snakes and python and rats and the whole nine yards, you know, that in and of itself is chaotic, you know. And I find myself like, oh, that son of a bitch. Calm down, Dave. It's just a rat. Yeah, but he got it in my goddamn bed again, and he ate it. He ate my cookies. He got into my saw. Yeah, okay. Well, that is the snake don't do that kind of thing, right? The snake can surprise you and make a little thumping noise, but it doesn't eat your cereal. you know, it doesn't eat the box and then eat the noodles, from the back, and you go, wow, look at all the noodles. And you look and you go, wait, there's a hole about you this big. And the rats have been inside and eaten and chewed. Now you can't eat none of the noodles that you thought you had, because they've been sitting in the box and the snake doesn't do that. you know. All right, come on, snaky poo. Here's a mouse. Eat that some bitch right there. So I can see where Tom and Jerry, it was popular as a kid for me. And it's interesting on Tubi. Here, let me take a detour. To see some of these old cartoons, the Jetsons, the Flintstones. Oh my God. I have not seen Yogi Bear yet. And Tennessee Tuxedo and Mr. Chumley. That might be an Inspector Gadget. But anyway, well, so to kind of sort of look at the chaos for a minute and the karmic stuff that seemed, will there be justice? They got so much on Biden, on the Biden crime family now, and so many people are actually, Joe Biden and the Biden crime family. I mean, it's sort of like it has become a synonymous. They're using the crime family along with his name. Oh my God, what? So the testimonies and the whistleblowers that have gone before Congress and so forth to listen to some of these people that are in charge of us. Oh my God. I know this, you know, mulattoed black kid, the crackhead, who's got more sense than these people. And he's sober once in a while. And well, actually, oh my God. So it's very interesting to note that Roseanne Barr, by the way, says there will not be an election. There will not be an election next year. And I thought, nah, come on, no, yeah, but she might have a point. In that the chaos will be so crazy that you know Biden will declare some kind of something and they'll call it off and martial law, and that'll be that. And whoever's in charge at the moment, because he ain't home, um, then what happens? So I'm not convinced that that's what's going to happen, but that's one of those things that I think we all should be careful, because our collective karma There was a manager of a restaurant. It's a YouTube video, and it seemed to be recent. And this guy was sitting in there getting ready to order, and he had a MAGA hat on. And and there's a couple of older women in there, maybe 65-ish, and then two other people and with a child, and I think it was a couple with a child. And so he said, "I'm sorry. Either you take off that hat, that disgusting, racist, blah 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 hat, or you will not be served." And he's like, "I'm sorry, but you're not going to serve me because I'm wearing this hat." And he goes, yeah, I want you to leave. If you're not going to take the hat off, then I don't want you to disrupt you racist pig, blah 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 blah, because you're wearing a MAGA hat. Now, so the white male manager standing over there with his arms folded. Now, this is a white guy, with his kid, and he was about in his 30s, no big deal. He wasn't trying to make any political statement. He just had a ball cap on. So the next thing you know, the people in the room are looking at each other and they go, "I'm not sitting here." And so these two old ladies sitting at the one table get up, get their purses, and the manager's like, "Y'all don't have to leave." And they go, "Oh, yes, we do. I wouldn't eat at this place where you're going to make him leave because he's wearing you know, what, you're the racist and you're the one." And I mean, and they got up and left the restaurant. I was like, "Yeah, buddy." So one person and he was the manager, but all these other people, white and black, said, "Nope, we ain't going to, nope, sorry. We are not going to allow this guy, even though he's the manager, to push us around. We'll go to another restaurant." Now, to me, that's solidarity. And there wasn't nobody standing there going, "Hey, what do y'all think about this?" No, they made the decision themselves on the spot. You ain't going to tell me what. I'm not going to sit in here in his restaurant and him do like he just did to that man. No, they were leaving. They had heard the whole thing because it was, the manager was quite loud. So I don't know what the restaurant was. I don't know that part. But the fact that you see these people who are starting to work together and they don't even know each other, I think it's great. I think America is being made great again because of the stupidity of the Biden administration. We had to have Biden. We had to, because of our karma, and I'm going to wrap this up. Because of our karma as a nation, we had to have Biden to see what we had with Trump. To see for those people who were like, "Oh, he was just a TV star." No, he was getting us independent. He was doing this. He got us out of the Paris Accord. He got us out of the NAFTA thing. He got us out of that Chinese deal. Remember all that? All that? Remember? To make us great again. We were building our own products. We had our own oil. We had remember those? And you want to wait. So you have to see how bad it gets. And in the grand scheme of things, karma said we had to have Biden. We had to. We had to have Biden to learn a lesson. The lesson freaking stinks. Okay. but we had to have, because Most of us were like, oh, at least half of us were like, oh man, I don't want to learn this lesson. Some bitch. Oh God Almighty. You know, here we go again. You know, and for many of us, it meant hardships. And some folks, pull the trigger, which is really sad. And it broke up families. And I mean, the lockdown and everything, and they're talking about, oh, it's going to happen again. No, it ain't. No, folks ain't going to pay no attention. So we have gone through many things, but people have learned the lessons. And the information that's coming out now from the, oh, wait a minute, there are a lot more people got sick than we reported that had, some of these people who have just passed out, they had had all their shots, right? We won't have enough time. Biden, they came along, done to F it all up. Yeah, that's what I don't get. I can't create enough trouble for myself to deal with. Why pile on the collective mess on top? Yeah, I agree. It will be too late. Oh, maybe that's why Roseanne's like, there's not even going to be an election. I'm like, that'd be interesting. Then what would it be? And there are people who are like voting for anarchy. I'm sorry, no, no, we should be able to talk this out. But I don't know if it can be. There have been too many people who have um, that are like Whoopi, that somehow just seems to have lost what little bit of sanity I used to think she had some of. You got a little bit in there, girl? No. God, to listen to her talk now, I cringe. And there are some other folks who are standing up and speaking their mind. I think that's a good thing. But in the meantime, what's it going to get us? Some of these people are just whacked out, white and black, and some Puerto Ricans. Oh, and what about the drug cartels that are just over the border down in Mexico? There are folks who are worried about Russia bombing us. Nah. What about China? No. Well, what about the Hindus and Pakistanis? No. Who should we be worried about? We should be worried about the drug cartels in Mexico and Metamoris and down there. You want to worry about something? You need to worry. We need to be worried about them people, not somebody on the other side of the planet. Or, you got to cross an ocean to get there. Nah, we got folks that are sitting, within 50 miles, 100 miles of the border that they have tanks and yeah, and rocket launcher. What? They have the ability to tunnel. Pay attention. They have the ability to tunnel under the border. Now that um, the vast majority of people that are crossing down there now on the border are just walking around the fence. But these tunnel guys, they're doing the fentanyl and all the big heavy duty stuff that's coming in. And here down in South Georgia, there have been more overdoses of different drugs, morphine being one of them, than I remember growing up in the hippie days in Tampa. I mean, there was morphine and all this and da 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 da. Wait, there are people in Thomas County and down here, and of course, we're really close to the Tallahassee. but the numbers are way too high for some small town, you know. What? And I don't mean just a casual, no, I mean shown up OD. Wait a minute, where'd they get the morphine from to OD in the first place? My question, was hard to get morphine in Tampa back in the early 70s, even though it was out there. And I'd had some, I had been run up with some Reds, back in the day. And I said, no, no, thank you. But I've had enough of that already. But so I think it's karma, kind of sort of on the human race. Oh, but what about the Illuminati? What about them? We have skirted around. We've had the opportunity with the evidence to put some of these people away, and we have not. So, what does that say about usins? You know? Well, we could make an arrest, but, then what? Oh, but the laptop. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's information. Yeah, they busted me with a helicopter with, 6 marijuana plants in 5-gallon buckets. Man, I went immediately to jail. They caught, their cocaine in the White House, and ain't nobody saying nothing. Ain't nobody feeling no pain. How about looking back Texas, Waylon and Willie and the boys? That successful life we're living has got us feuding like the Hatfields and McCoys. And that's what's feuding's going on right now. But the chaos, it's how it's how Whoopi, I'm still on her a little bit. It's how Whoopi addressed everybody about the song, Small Town Thing, right? It was the vehemence in her voice. It was how she projected this state that she was in. Because I watched it, right? So guess what? That's what gets passed along. That's what is people are looking at. She was like, what, Whoopi, did you see how mad she was? Yeah, did you see how she wasn't acting? Maybe, maybe not. But so with Joy Behar and some of these other people. So, people, not me, people look up to these ladies and the people because it's the view. And that should be reminded, constantly with people. It's just their point of view. Can't act on what Whoopi said, but boy, did it create a stink. So it's obvious because of the way people reacted, and in some ways overreacted. In a good way, in that his song, was sold over 2.5 million copies or whatever. Yeah, you go for it. That's one of them that backfired in his favor. So, but what does this make us? They're creating chaos wherever they possibly can. And, over the last couple of years, I've talked about, we have to, the cacophony of chaos. We have to listen to it because it, when you listen to it the right way, there is definitely a melody in this. I mean, literally a melody. It might be dum dum dum, dum dum dum, dum dum dum. That might be all it is, and it might be the snake's tail in the bathroom. but um, but there is melody to the chaos. But we can't let that chaos lull us into a complacency. So karma says, some bitch, should have changed that fuel pump back before I went in the hospital. Some bitch, I just, I should have. Okay, now I gotta, you know. All right. So, but what about this that's coming up with all these other things? We have to control them and take two steps back, take a deep breath, because we don't know if we're going to get another surprise tomorrow. You know what I mean? To where we go, man, I thought yesterday was tough. Like Cheech and Chong, they said, hey man, things is tough all over. So we got to be careful, watch out for each other. And, tonight I pulled the cards of Porcupine, which is innocence. And we have to remember that, that these folks are wanting us to be at each other's throats. And they're having folks like Whoopi Goldberg, have these rants and all these other people, and to try to divide us when it's like, come on, we as a people really are better than this. We might still disagree, but them hoes on the View, they have crossed a bunch of lines, and folks are paying attention and going, well, let's remember this. It's their view. It's the name of the fucking program. It's a view. It's these four crazy women. It's their view. It's their opinion. Does it make it right? Is it true? No. It's their viewpoint. And people need to be reminded of that. It's their viewpoint. So, but anyway, the cacophony of the chaos. So in this, wait a minute. So the cacophony of the chaos at the moment is they got caught. They're going to be sued, and she might actually lose. you know, because she said it so many times. In the View, it's my viewpoint. I have the right to say what I want. Well, so did he. So does he. And you screwed it up. And CMT for them dropping him, and they need to sue them too, because that ain't right. It just ain't right. There's a lot worse. I mean, some of these rapper songs that are out there now with the booty and the this and the that and the blah 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 and the fornicating, and they want to give this guy a hard time. But to the double face of justice, I think somebody's going to get shot over this deal. Okay, my I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But there are some folks left over from the old days, like me, when, they shot the sheriff, and then they shot Kennedy, and they shot Martin Luther King, and then they shot RFK. And that ain't counting a few other people along the way that knew stuff they shouldn't, and they ended up with tragic accidents. And so is Roseanne right? Are we not going to have any kind of, you know, election? Is there going to be a pseudo election? Where, well, you can place a ballot, but we're not sure we're going to count them. Don't know. And voting early, don't know about that either. Because there are certain states that are really pushing the vote early without any way of checking the identification. I go into my local precinct, which is just 2 miles up the road here, and I go in. I hand them my driver's license. They scan it with a little tool, and they go, "Yep, hi, Mister No, how you doing? You're voting Republican? Yeah, this time around. Okie doke. Here's your card. Go vote." you know. Oh, they do have a list, and I do have to sign a thing that I was there, kind of thing, that I did vote on a chart that says I was there to vote and that I did vote, and that's separate from casting the vote. So, local precinct, been here 40 years, been voting that way. People know each other in there. We stand around and how you doing, and we chit chat. Not necessarily about, of course, in our neighborhood, we look at each other and go, Trump better win, versus, oh my God, it's Biden. Nah, I ain't heard nobody. I'm sure we have some, diehard liberals in our area, but um, it ain't me no more. It ain't me, babe. No, 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 it ain't me, babe. It ain't me you're looking for, babe. But anyway, so the chaos of the chaos of the karmic payback. We should have been more careful last time around. This time there are folks, from both sides, you know, because there are some Democrats who don't like the idea, like here in Georgia, they don't like the idea that somebody might have been stuffing ballots. They don't like it. They're supposed to be, you know, wards of the state in that, they work for the voting commission. There are people who volunteer, to work at the polling stations and do all that's volunteer. So they write down the names and they give you the thing, they give blah, 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 and so that's all volunteer. So, but wait a minute, those people don't. Somebody said, that they snuck some ballots in here. What? No, no, uh-uh. Now, unless these folks are in on it together, which there was evidence that there was absolutely tampering here in the state of Georgia, but that's just making Democrats and Republicans and independents going, nah, we're going to watch this. We're going to really pay attention to the ballot boxes. And maybe this, having 3 months to be able to vote for the president, what? Yeah, you can vote really early, in some states. And they're pushing it for here in Georgia. And I'm like, if you move the day of voting to a Saturday, you wouldn't have to have early voting unless somebody was going to be, out of town or something like that, or, okie doke. But I think you should not just send in a ballot, you should physically go in and cast your ballot early, not just mail in a piece of paper. You will speak to a person like they do in Georgia. They will look at your ID and say, yes, this is you. And here's your little key thingy to go cast your ballot. It They've simplified it. Um, except for the state of Georgia down here, they made it easier. Wait, easier. They made They simplified the process, but it still looks pretty secure. So you have the voting machine that you vote with, and then it prints out your vote. And then you take that paper over to another machine that is hooked up um, to the internet phone line. And so that um, you casting your vote in that little machine, there was nothing to cast. It printed it out in such a way that now you put it in. It looks like a big copy machine, and you put it in. It reads it, and both sides of it. It's a special dealy thingy, and then it keeps your vote that was on that piece of paper. So now it's recorded digitally, but the paper ballot is still inside this little robot. You know, it swallowed, not destroyed, but it swallowed all of the ballots that are was my votes. I checked it on the paper ballot, said yeah, because if there was any change in it, I could still go back to the poll worker and go, sorry, I goofed up and blah blah blah. Um, so the fact that it's printed, and before it's just you cast your ballot and that was that. No, now our ballots in the state of Georgia are actually printed out, and so because of the bars and the scanner and everything now, that they've got. So your vote is now can be literally just scanned by a hand scanner. Now some would say that that's not very secure. Okay, but how you got to the process of it, that they still have our votes somewhere but that, oh my God, they still have our votes, that was printed out by the machine. Yeah, okie dokie. That sounds pretty cool. So, but this idea of you mail something in and you've just checked off some boxes, no one has checked your ID. It ain't that hard. Um, if you want to vote that bad, there was a band that came up. It was cool too. One black lady, I mean, she was in her 80s, okay, had been always afraid to go vote because the stories she had heard about, that was just a ploy to get these, black people to come to the courthouse, and then there was going to be a mass murder, or they was going to ship them up to concentration camps, and horrible things. So no, you didn't want to go into town when they said, "Oh, we're going to have a party, on the square up there where we used to hang y'all." We used to hang folks like you. Remember that back being about 15 years ago? That was the last lynching, but oh, come around. We're going to stand under the tree where we used to lynch folks, you know, literally. And they did that even in Colquitt County. So, but does your vote count? Well, that's a tricky one, right? Who voted early and how many times, and who did they vote for? And I'm sorry, but if you're from another country and you are not a legal citizen, you have no right to vote under any circumstance. I'm sorry. Get a little sausage in you. Of course, most of the folks around these days, they don't know the difference either. But so, yeah, I'm about to fall asleep. But there's one. Well, there's a one of the. I guess it's amendments to the Constitution and I don't know which one. It's later on, but back when Trump was going through his thing last election, I was reading up on ye old Constitution, and I found this interesting. And I thought growing up as a kid, something about that, back in the day, back in before Lincoln was shot, or around the time, that there's a dual election. Hey, Katniss. Yeah, I did get that right. Mark, Joe, is the escape clause. Google. BC. What? The local Walmart. Eye Center. Wrong place to look for my eye. To look at my eye. They just do prescription glasses. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, you need to go to at least an emergency room if illegal aliens can vote. Can space aliens? Yeah, the way they talk about it, and that's sort of my thing. By God, when I was growing up and everything, it was our duty. We all wanted to vote because of the Vietnam War. We were like, oh hell no, we won't go, and so we didn't want to blow each other up over here. There was none of this, and they tried it. Like, the Kent, four dead in Ohio. 10 soldiers and Nixon's coming. We're finally on our own. This summer I hear the drumming. 4 dead in Ohio. So, but yeah, um, I don't think they planned it, but it certainly worked out that way. And I remember that, in Tampa, where they, the police were going to shoot a bunch of us young kids, who were down at an official, um, sanctioned at the time, the Youth of Tampa, and how, those of us who had graduated high school in Tampa that year, we wanted places to go and concerts and things, so the police wouldn't hassle us, and at the same time, we could have fun and blah blah. Anyway, they busted us all up. Some folks even got planted with some kind of drug on them, and but it's the mayor's council on teens, and yeah, but, it was a really good thing and a talking point for the mayor, but the police hated it, and some other folks. But anyway, but to the voting thing, I think somebody needs to check your ID. I'm sorry. But are you a legal citizen? Si, senor. I have lived here most of my life. Oh, really? Si, senor. So, who are you voting for? I think he is a Democrat. Oh, you're voting for that side, are you? Okay. See, we get $50 for voting that way. Oh, good, Juan. Manola, good to see you. Yeah, y'all. See, we are all voting for the Democrats. Oh, good. Yeah, that's why they won. Yeah. See, we sent our ballots in, 9 months before the election. Really? Yeah. Well, someone told we had to, send them in 9 months because that's how long it took this shit to, to develop. Oh, Lord have mercy. It's going to be damn just interesting. It already is. So before you let it piss you off, just take a deep breath. I pulled the um, dolphin card tonight, this morning, earlier, and manna from heaven, the breath of life. So at any time that something weird goes to happening, I mean, unless you got to like jump out of the way of the truck that's coming, you know, um, yeah, but somebody just jumped in and put the parking brake on. Okay, but should you be standing in the middle of the street, buddy? Maybe not. So, what do we do in times like this? We keep an eye on the stuff and we keep our heads down, but we keep an eye on stuff. I don't know. I don't think the world is going to collapse because folks are going to figure out ways to barter. We always have. We've always figured something out. There are people within the agricultural stuff now who are keeping an eye on things. There are folks around here that have sort of like, I say, a specialty farm. They're not just growing cotton; they're growing 3 or 4 types of vegetables. Sure enough, real fruit vegetables and some fruits. And there are farmers and other folks who have invested in pecan trees, invested in fruit trees, and more um, um, peach trees because many of the peach trees were damaged a few years back when we had an extreme cold. Yeah, things ain't heating up that bad around here yet. But so we learned the lesson to say, wait a minute, we bumped into each other one time before, didn't we? See you, Joe. Be safe. I'm fixing to go to bed too. Um, but so we watch this and we report, hey, wait a minute, there's shenanigans going on. Hopefully we won't have to go in guns a blazing. But we as a people, as a society, we need to say, no, we need real transparency, which means that some bitch needs to get tossed out. He needs to go to trial, and we need to quit picking on other people. We need to look at justice as justice. Period. Well, but where's the evidence? Well, John was there, but he was on the other side of the parking lot. Yeah, but Alec, he's got mud all over his shoes. I mean, he's actually got mud under his fingernails. I mean, he's got mud in his hair. Who's guilty? The guy on the other side of the parking lot or this creep with dirt under his fingernails? Well, maybe we ought to get the guy that's got dirt under his fingernails. Well, how freaking Luya. They got it right this time. So we'll see. At this point, all I can say is we just need to keep sending good energy out there that there really are white hats that are working for our benefit, that there really are people who really do give a damn. And I listen to some of these congressmen that are, upset about some of the things that have happened. And it's like, yep, you go, girl and girls. We need to stick to our guns, and I'm with you. And speaking of girls, I'm with you, ladies. You know, you tell all these other weird ass men to go kick it to the curb, go jump off the nearest bridge, and see if they can swim in their high heels. But anyway, I love you all. I do. I continue to pray that each and every day. The Rumps, how are you doing? I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings in the universe. Ow. We should be learning from our mistakes. And if anything, to even our enemies, we should be pointing stuff out and going, wait a minute now, hang on. Before y'all get pissed off at me because you think I'm a traitor, because I might actually, you know, I don't really own a MAGA hat, but if I did, I might actually wear it, but wait a minute. Before you get mad at my hat, well, let's just have a conversation. That's all. That's all I'm asking you. Let's just have a conversation and see where you stand with it. Okay, that's all. If you hate my guts because I like that hat or what it stands for, then I guess we're at an impasse already. What the hell's an impasse? Well, it's sort of like an overpass, but it goes in, and never mind. So, but what do we do? Just keep an eye on, keep a steady pace, keep the faith. And one would say, have the ammunition, keep your powder dry, you know, keep your powder dry. Because I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings out there in the universe. I got, shat on yesterday and today. Well, let's see, today. Yeah, I made it home today. So, yeah, fuel pump, holy crap. And, I didn't get by that one. So, but anyway, so one day things are running smooth and got a new cell phone. And the next thing you know, I got to put my truck up on blocks and put her out of commission to take the tank out to change the fuel pump. So, but we learned from our mistakes. Hopefully, I wasn't doing anything wrong, but I should have checked the pump. So, but have a great rest of. Wait, this is Tuesday, Wednesday morning. Have a. I'm trying to get up enough energy to do a card reading night. I have not forgotten, but by the time I get done hobbling around, doing some, um, using the weed eater to keep the grass down is not a small chore. So when I get done with 10 minutes of using the weed eater, it's all I can do to stand. So I haven't got my stamina up on that one yet, but we just do the best that we can, so don't worry about it. Be happy now. So till next time, I love you. Oh, Michelle, I need if I don't know if you did or not. I don't know if I said it or not, but here's my new cell phone. Send me a text. And Katniss, I hope you're doing well. Chloe, you as well. Who else? Oh, Deromsk, I'm sorry. I've been up for like 2 days, and I'd hang out with you some more, but I got to get some rest too. But I want to come back and talk about other stuff. You know, maybe, God, with all this stuff that's going on, it's just some of the stuff is just so heavy. You know what I mean? You got to lighten the story up somehow. But anyway, I love you all. Cheers. Oh, and by the way, for those of you, folks and friends, if you don't know, he's moving out of the Ukraine and back to Marseille. Anyway, he's moving back to Spain, I think. But anyway, he's okie dokie. So, Bob, the builder of the AI, we love you. Thanks for being so klutzy and clumsy. It makes us feel like geniuses. And to anybody who wants to put harm on another human being and or alien, cut it out, will you? Cut it out. Let's all sit at the table and toast whatever drink we have to peace We'll never have tranquility, but we can stop fighting and beheading each other, for crying out loud. So I love you till next time, okay? And I'm always here saying prayers. Be sweet, be safe. End the stream. Cheers.